Super long journal entry. This is for December 14th and December 15th, and there's so much. I didn't even have time to make a video for Sunday yet because my ride came early, really early. So I basically just got back from church and snacking, and then I had to get ready because they were going to be here. I didn't have time to go out and go to Walmart or the gym or anything. So, wow. I've got so much going on. I don't know I can remember it all. Oh. I went to two churches, church hopping, going back and forth. I was invited to the church. People from the soup kitchen are inviting me to this specific church, which does play like more contemporary music. And they do have a pastor that was involved in getting a lot of food for the Thanksgiving meal that was free. And it looks like he wants to do good and help, but at the same time he is, I think he's maybe a little vain, or maybe I'm misreading things. So it wasn't like the other pastor that I met who was like, oh. Like the first pastor, I was sent to this church as like a first fruits offering on Pentecost. I showed up at this church and the pastor wasn't there. And then the next service, I was introduced to the pastor. And he showed up and he was like, oh. Like that. I can't make this up. I can't make this up. These are from my old corroded guitar strings that tear up your fingers. These are probably much worse than bass guitar strings. I'm just gonna say these are awful. They're corroded and they're like thick metal, and you gotta hold them real hard. So hopefully, not fingers crossed, God willing, like the Muslims say, because the Muslims have a lot of stuff right to say. They need to join, Christians, Muslims, and Jews need to join together. And those of you people that are against this are working for the wrong team, because we all worship the same God. Just there are different beliefs and different practices in these groups. And some of these things are wrong, and some of these things are right. Because the devil has been controlling the entire world, and that includes every single religion, and every single culture, and every single time. So no one has it 100% right. Muslims, Christians, and Jews are supposed to worship the same God. And if you don't like this idea, then you're not a Christian. If you don't like this idea, then you're not maybe you could say you're not a Jew, but you're definitely not a Muslim either, because the Muslims do recognize and believe in the Old Testament and the Psalms, the book of Psalms. And they also say to read all of the books anyways. It's just that not all of them. Quran says to read all of the books, but not all of them are from God. And it says take from it the best. That's a wonderful idea if only the Muslims would do it. You see what I mean? Okay. But anyways, God has only called me to go to churches at this point. Wow, totally wild. And God has called me to go to churches, and so have the Satanists. So have the addicts. So have the disbelievers. So have the Pharisees trying to do their offering to the devil, I guess. I don't know how this works. This is so wild. I gotta try to remember. So on December 14th, you have 12 and 14 in 2025. Let's just try to add that. I'm gonna look like an idiot here. 3, 4, 8, 9, 10. Okay, that's a 17. If you add all those numbers up, it's a 17. If you take December 14th. So, this day I was invited to a church. I canceled the demonic assignment, so really they might have had something planned for me, but it didn't work. Because I actually had I went to this church, I ate the breakfast, went to this church, then went back to the other church, and then that service was over, then came back to this one again, and I sat towards the back this time. There was a woman in front of me who I do believe was a witch, and she had like kind of mischievous look on her face, but they really didn't do anything. I canceled the assignment, so I gotta pull this thing up here. So I can't remember it all. When I got back to my house, I had to change. I had to get an appropriate outfit on to wear to trial. I was wearing my winter clothes, my fuzzy clothes. I had to change into something I could wear in a courtroom and, try to get myself together. And my ride was on the way. My father was on the way, who I still know is an enemy, but I don't know. It's so hard. Like, he acts like he cares, and it really seems like it. It really does seem like he cares. But then, like, he called me after he got home, and then he says that he's just by himself and alone and lonely. And so I talked to him a minute about something that happened, and then he was not interested and went to hurry up and get off the phone. So I think that's my comfort. So I try to make some talk with him so he's not lonely. And he's like, I gotta go, I'm hungry. Anyways, he's probably still an enemy. Anyways, this is December 14th. So, this was Sunday, and I had been invited, I think the day before, from somebody at the soup kitchen hanging outside. And actually, a few people had mentioned it. A couple days before, someone, the one blonde man mentioned it, and then it was a black man mentioned it, and then they invited me. So, just various people mentioning to go to a certain church. I don't know if I went to this one. I might have went to a different one. Actually, I think I went to the right one, because the black man actually went with me this time, and I didn't see the blonde man. And I think there's a reason, too. Maybe I did not see the blonde man. So, these are people that I'm nice with, and sometimes they're nice to me, but they still aren't coming to get me. So that's the thing, is I think it's this weird thing where they have demons and they have to come after me and try to get me, but in some way I think they also like me. So it's so weird. It's so weird. And some of them, they try to get you, and they can't get you, and then they like almost respect you. It's the weirdest thing. So I don't know. I feel like I'm in a prison here. But I already was when I lived with a narcissist. I already was when I had a narcissist daughter. So there's really no difference there. Except for they were poisoning me. And now I see them try, and I'm able to block some of it. So, but not all of it. And I guess God has allowed, what has happened, God has allowed. So, this Sunday, I couldn't remember it all. I actually had to write this down late that night after I had a long car ride with my father. My daughter was there. Then we watched a movie, and then he talked about some stuff and tried to stress me out. And then I finally laid down, and then I wrote down what I could remember, which is probably not everything. So, there is a church that previously at the soup kitchen, there was a very kind woman there, and she took a liking to me and mentioned there's free breakfast at this church. And someone else was sitting like a couple seats away, and they're like, yeah, and they confirmed this and told me, okay, I want to go there. But it was 8 in the morning. This is horrible. 8 in the morning. That is so early. But maybe this is good, because the last 2 weekends I got up really early. I actually got up at like 6:30 or something so I could take a shower for church, because I felt like I should have a shower to be respectful of church. I actually feel this way. Now, I don't feel that way to go to the soup kitchen. I don't, because there's a lot of people there that, like, I don't know. Maybe they never bathe. Maybe they bathe, like, a couple times a year. I don't know. Or it could be more than that. Maybe I smell worse than they do, but I'm used to it. I don't know. But anyways, you don't have to bathe to go to the soup kitchen. But I thought, to go to the church, I'm going to take a bath, like, Saturday or Sunday morning. Saturday night or Sunday morning. Or maybe Saturday morning. I don't know. So anyways, then I show up. Last weekend, they had these pancakes and scrambled eggs and fruit, and it was, like, so good. It was, like, really good quality breakfast, but then there was somebody sitting at the seat that smelled like urine that ruined a lot of it. This time I went in, I sat, okay, so I remember, I was running I'm trying to run late. I might have been there right on time or, like, 5 minutes late by the time I locked my bike up, and I go in, and they start to head down the steps, and right as I come in, I think they're starting. They've got a few people come in, and then they sing, like, a song or something. And right as you walk in, there's the coffee machine where you can get some coffee. And there's some donuts and stuff. That's behind the speaker. I don't want to be disrespectful. So you get your coffee on the way in. And then I did not go sit at a table. I kind of went along the side to not block the view, because there was people that were, like, singing, and then they, like, do a little sermon. So I didn't want to go in for anyone. I'll go along the side and kind of stand, like, next to the regular pastor, a little ways down. And then after a couple minutes, then I kind of sneak through and I sit down at the front table. At the front table, there's an open seat there. I sit down at that front table. But this time, it wasn't this delicious eggs and pancakes. This time, it was like French toast and bacon. And the bacon was touching one of my pieces of French toast. And it was bacon. It was bacon. I'm like, oh no. So then, when I got my food, I thought about going up and asking for one without bacon then. This was God intervening. Thank you, Lord, for it. It made me look kind and polite still. And the pastor was still alerted that I do not. So the pastor holds this free breakfast and does a sermon. Like, everybody that shows up is an addict or an alcoholic or criminal or something. This is really, maybe I'm wrong, but that's really what it looks like. It looks like everybody that shows up is an addict, an alcoholic, or a criminal. And then there's me. Okay, I treat people nice. But then they come after me. They try to get me, is the thing. And they do it like in like ways where it looks like they're not, though. It's not like they go and shiv you or anything. It's not like that. They poison, they try to trick you, mainly poisoning. And right now they are trying to get me. I think they were trying to get me to go out with someone, but I don't know. Maybe they have another plan too, because people have tried to kill me before. But at this point, I don't know, because it seems like they were just trying to send suitors. So I don't know. This is weird. So then they called, like, they had the I think it's called a communion, where they got like the little things of wine and a little piece of bread. And the last time, I think that's when somebody poisoned my food, and my table was all the way at the back. So this time I thought about it. There was a lot less people this time. There was like half as, or a third as many people as before, probably because it was really cold. So there was a lot less people, and I was right at the front, and I looked at my plate, and I looked at my cup, and then I looked at the line, and so there was like 2 people ahead of me, and then I got up and got in, and then I glanced, and I drank it, and I went over to the trash right away, and then I looked right at my plate. And I looked right at my cup. They did not have time to poison it. They did last time, but they didn't this time. And I was walking back. So at this time, the table, it was a round table. It probably seats like 6 people close to each other, but maybe 4 comfortably, honestly. And there was one of, I think he's an addict or an alcoholic from the soup kitchen, who's a black man, and then there was another black man sitting there that I've never seen before. And he had kind of like a maybe alcoholic or criminal vibe to him, but they were being nice to me. They'll talk nice to you, but they will poison. They will poison, okay? They are hired and paid to do things, and they're also on that team. So if the Kingdom of Darkness wants me, or they want you, then these people will be used to get you. And so as I was coming back, so then he must have been maybe 60 or something, maybe 50 or 60 years old. I think maybe 55. I don't know. He looked a lot older than me, but he didn't have like wrinkles or anything. So like a fit kind of older guy. And this is the one I hadn't seen before. And I almost thought he didn't snap his fingers, but you know that thing like drats, I missed it. Like he had that look on his face like, it's like, darn it, he didn't have time. I knew it. The one I'd never seen before was sent in. He was going to put something in my drink, and then I looked, and I thought about it a minute, and I'm like, this is a really short line. I'm right next to my cup, and I'm going to look. And so then I threw it away, and I came around, and as I was walking back, I looked right at my stuff. And then that one black man I hadn't seen before, he was like, like he made, I don't know exactly, but he like when you miss something, you're like, shoot, he did something like that. And I'm like, yeah, he meant to put something in my drink, but he couldn't. I was too fast. So you didn't get me this time. I'm not sitting in the back. Now the pastor still doesn't know. When you invite these people in, it's good that maybe they will convert because of your sermon, but you should do the communion before you hand out the food and drink. Maybe I should tell him this, because when people get up and they leave their food and drink, then stuff can be done to it. Maybe I need to tell him this. It might look a little weird if he all of a sudden changes things. Anyways, maybe he should just have people keeping an eye on whoever is a normal, like not a disbeliever. I don't know how to say, I'm not trying to be mean, because I hope they can repent and they can quit their addictions. It's possible. I don't know. Anything is possible with God. But just in the state that they are right now, they are coming against me. And whether they want to or not, each person probably doesn't care. But they're on that team, and so the devil sends them after certain people, like believers and things, or whoever God allows. So anyways, this time they had pork. And so it was like a little French toast and some pork. And a lot of these homeless people never wash I don't want to say never wash their hands, but like under their fingernails is like all black, and then they're on drugs. They don't know how to wash their hands after they go to the bathroom. They don't wash their hands after they dig through trash. And then they touch the syrup and pass it. Ugh. I'm not and I don't want to be rude to anyone. I'm really trying not to be rude. But this is something to consider. In terms of cleanliness, is that it is good to minister to these people, and you should, but at the same time, you should protect. If other people come in, then keep an eye on them and make sure that they are protected while they're there. That's what I'm saying. Minister, bring in these people, feed these people. It may be the turning point, but at the same time, if someone comes in that's not an addict, someone comes in that's a good person, you need to keep an eye on them, because these people will be used to target them, or they could be. Um, so anyways, then I had the thing, and I was about to go put the pork back or something, and then the guy sitting next to me who's from the soup kitchen I recognized, he was like, "What's that?" He says, "What's that?" I'm like, "Oh, good, good." His God was probably like, take that bacon," because I didn't want to look rude or anything, so I didn't. He took and I put it right there. He took the bacon out of my tray, and so I ate one of the French toast, and the other one was touching the bacon, and I left it. And they said, since not very many people were here, you can all get a take-home meal. So I'm sure the pastor was watching too. He was standing back along the side wall, near where they served some food through the opening. And then I went back there and I said, "If I could I please have one with no pork or no ham." I don't remember if I said pork or ham. With no ham. Could I have one with no bacon, no pork? And then so I was only a few feet away from the pastor, so he got to hear that. He got to see that I wasn't like the other addicts. I was there, and I was not. So maybe this will influence them to not serve. Because actually, I was about to say, oh, last time I was there, I was about to compliment him on having a wonderful breakfast with no bacon, with no pork. And I was really happy with that. And so then I thought, maybe he actually does this, like follow the Bible. And then this time, I show up this week and there was bacon. But God kept me from being rude and kept me on good terms with people. And then when I went back and they said, "Do you have to go?" I said, "Could I have one without?" And the pastor heard this, but I did not directly tell the pastor. So he was probably made aware, and the other people there too. So anyways, I think, okay, let's see, what else happened? Yeah, I know they were going to poison my coffee. Because I would try to be really fast taking the communion, coming, turning around and looking at my stuff. And then the guy he was like, like he was mad. I knew exactly that facial expression and what he did. He wanted to do something to my drink and he did not have time. So let's see what else there. So maybe that's why I didn't see the blonde man again. Because I hear they do spells. They do like, I don't know, there's a video saying like a love magic spell, like using candles or something. But then maybe that has to, like if they're making a potion, I don't know. Because see, after my drink was poisoned, that man showed up last time, and then they had the love magic like crazy, okay? This time, they were not able to poison my coffee, and so he did not meet up with me. Does that make sense? I don't know how to say this. It was the other one that was sitting at the table with me. So, let's see here. Oh, they had so many donuts. Oh my gosh. They were trying to give them away. And so I didn't even want to take, ended up taking a lot, and I left a few because they said, "We're trying to get rid of them." And so I gave a lot of them away. I gave a lot of them to people, to my father and stuff, but he doesn't want them all the time. You could freeze them and just have one once a week or something. Let's see here. So after the breakfast, they don't have service again there for a while. So then I walk a couple blocks down. Actually, this time with the black man, just like, "You want to go?" I'm like, "Yeah." And he compliments me a little bit. He's kind of out of it. He compliments me, he's like you're hot or something, but not much, he's not going to. It's not anything like really uncomfortable. But it's not because that's how he really feels. So he's sent on assignment. They are trying to get me to date someone right now. So they are all trying it. And so we head down to this church. Again, I was going to go there anyways, but then he invited me and we went. I believe the blonde man did not sit at my table because I did not drink the coffee. When I say poison, this can also be love magic or potions they put in. It doesn't have to be deadly. A lot of times the narcissist would just put sedatives or something in there. So, it's not necessarily something that's going to kill you. A lot of times they don't want you to die. They just want you to be like sick or like wasting like you just don't look good. You look unwell. Maybe you're going crazy or something. I don't know. I don't know what exactly. I know he did sedative. So this they put love magic in it last time. That's probably what they wanted. Since I did not take the love magic, they did not send the blonde man. They sent because they have a different tactic for all of them. So then I went with the other one. And we walk to this church. And I actually waited around to shake the pastor's hand, and he mentioned his name. So let's see here. So then I went to the church. They have more contemporary music. And the pastor gave a sermon. He was talking a lot about Jesus's father, and him being concerned about what others would think, that his wife cheated on him or they were messing around before marriage, which would mean they weren't religious. So the way he would look to the world, and it was a pretty good. Now, I don't think like all of the theology was right. It could have been wrong, but still, it was a good point, and it was a pretty good service. Yeah. Um, and also mentioned how he did mention something too, which a lot of people don't consider, is that people knowing this about Jesus and how stigmatized that at the time. He said that when Jesus was growing up, he was called bastard child. That they said, this type of thing. They made fun of him and called him this stuff as he was growing up. Yeah, probably. Yeah, because everyone knew that Mary was pregnant before they got married, which was not acceptable back then. So that was something good that he covered. This is something to consider, as Jesus probably did not have a good childhood, was made fun of, and probably a lot of his family did not like him because of the circumstance in which he was born. And when God sends an angel, God sends angels in human bodies. So if that angel came down in a human body and blew like air and Mary was pregnant, or it's possible that angel and Mary consummated whatever, but it's actually what I think is that it was probably like an in vitro fertilization. They didn't know about this a really long time ago, in vitro fertilization. And actually, why I think this is important is a lot of the pagan gods were actually Nephilim, which were hybrids between fallen angels and women. And so they were hybrid beings. A lot of them would grow up to be giants. And, let's see. And they could not conceive naturally, so they used in vitro fertilization. And so it was like gods, because they didn't need to consummate the marriage to make the child. They used science to implant an embryo that was genetically modified. So when Jesus was born, this is why this was used, because a lot of reason people would worship these gods is a lot of times they wouldn't even be able to consummate a marriage, but then they got pregnant, so this would make it seem supernatural. So then Jesus was God's, this is why they say God's direct child, but it's not like that. It's not really that way. But instead of being a fallen angel's child, okay, then this is a child that was sent by God, just like Adam was created out of nothing, okay. That Jesus was, I believe, implanted into Mary with like in vitro, and that would trump the pagan occult fake gods, like that they were hybrids that were implanted, and they would be like these monsters and giants and things. Excuse me. Now my nose is running again. Oh my gosh. So that's why the virgin birth was important. Not because it's important to God, but because the pagans would worship these hybrid children because they were born to women that did not have sex to make the children, and that made it seem supernatural. So that's why it was important. Because the pagans worshipped the children that were born this way. Because the fallen angels implanted hybrid fetuses or embryos into the wives that were humans. Okay, so then God did the same thing, because people were worshiping this. They were worshiping this. They thought they were gods because they didn't need to consummate. Okay, I hope this makes sense. It wasn't because virginity is important to God, because it's not. It's because it's not. It's you don't cheat. Okay, that's important. Shoot, I can't show that. You don't cheat. That's bad. It's not the virginity. Virginity has nothing to do with whether God values you or not. Like, if you commit adultery, that's bad. But because the pagans worshipped this. The pagans, and they worshipped this too, because they could not consummate naturally, then they made it holy, and they elevated the status, and people worshipped it. So that's why I truly believe. Anyways. Oh, that's good. Diet. Something diet, you know what kind of pop that is. I didn't want to get diet. They had these at the soup kitchen. The first time they've ever had pop that I've seen. First time I've ever seen them have pop at the soup kitchen. and I had a choice between orange soda and a Diet Mountain Dew, and I had to get the Diet Mountain Dew. I had to do it. um, I like orange soda, but it's not as thirst quenching as a Mountain Dew is, which is not really even thirst quenching. Okay, let's see what's here. I canceled. So when I went into this church, and then I was following the black man from the soup kitchen. No, I'll be nice too, and he talks pretty nice to me. But I'm his assignment to get me. But he might like me too. I don't know. Like, not that way, but I don't know. Some of them, they don't dislike me, but it is their job to get me, if that makes sense. We walk towards, and then they pass a woman along the back. I can tell she's a saint. I know what these female witches look like. They don't really look evil. They look kind of alternative. They can be wearing normal clothes and do their eye makeup a certain way. They give themselves away. So I know what a witch and a warlock looks like. But then they were being nice and talking to each other, and she's kind of overweight too. A lot of the female witches are overweight. I'm not bashing anyone. You do what you want, okay? I've got a stomach right now. I've been eating the food of the people, so I started to get cellulite after I'm eating the food of the people now, so I'm not perfect. But anyways, I'm just saying, I can recognize a witch when I see one, okay? Many years ago, all of the fake friends and the narcissist fake friends were witches and warlocks. I know what they look like. I know how they do their eyes. I know what types of clothes that they normally wear, what you can pick from. So I know what they look like. They were being nice and talk, and he talked for a minute, and then he went in this side door. And then I didn't follow him. I actually went around to the front, and I went in the other door. And I walked through, and then I saw him, there's a little coffee station there, and he was putting some creamer in his coffee. I'm like, oh, okay. So then I went up. They had different flavors of coffee made syrup, and I said, I don't normally do this. And then I tried the original. He was doing like hazelnut or something. And then I don't know, he was talking to somebody or went in, but I actually went in and I sat down more like towards the front. So I was like halfway or a third way. I was closer to the front, but like before, the covens normally sit in the back, and they have agents all throughout in the front too. But I didn't sit in the back like the last time. I actually either sat in the middle or towards the front, like the front, a middle or like 2/3 up. So they weren't near me, and maybe that was the reason. There was a clear spot here, and then the other woman that I'd seen before that liked me, and then some spells were used against her, and then they were off again. And then she was kind of like on the other side in one row ahead, and she noticed me, and I noticed her, and we did like a little hug at one point, and she was real nice again. They can try to use witchcraft, but it doesn't last forever. Excuse me. But it did stop her from taking me to the trial, which maybe was important. If I didn't have the right I had, then I wouldn't have had to wait to get there. I guess I could have taken a bus like 12 hours before or something. So anyways, when I was in there, I sat towards the front. I was away from them. I didn't see any of them. They were like towards the back. And I canceled demonic assignments. I listened to the service. I said hello to this woman. And I tried to shake people's hands and stuff. And then when that service was over, and I was back in the little coffee area, and I was going to get some more coffee, but it was gone. And then I saw one of the men from the soup kitchen who the narcissist would send, to get me, or to he sends him to get information that will be used against me later, if that makes sense. So anyways, he was sitting there, he's kind of out of it. And he said, I got another service here in a little bit. And I said, well, I'm going to go back to the other church where they fed us, and then when that's over, I'm coming back here. I said, because they were, and I told him, because he's kind of out of it, I said, because they were disappointed that we would just eat the food and then not go to their service. So I'm going to go to that and then come back. So I don't know if he understood. Maybe he understood, but he forgot. I don't know. But anyways, we're just sitting there and hanging out and having some coffee. I don't know. Stoned out of his mind or something. But anyways, so I went back to the fancy church in this old building from the 1800s. And during this sermon, they had, see, I got this little thing from the one church. I wrote some notes on it. See if I can read my own See if I can read my own writing here. Oh my goodness. This is Sunday. Okay, so it's like this church, it's like kind of a boring service. They do a lot of choir. They don't have many members, and they're older. Um, there is more truth in here. I did not really see enemies, covens in there, but there's probably like some enemies in there, but it's not a whole coven. There's not enough people. They might just have like one person or two in there. It's possible. They work on more of an individual basis because it's just not the environment. You can't do the same thing. The other church, the seats they're close together. There's a lot of people. You can have a whole coven in there. This church, it's really big and there's just not very many people. So they probably have like one agent or something in there. And I think I know who one of them is, but I'm not going to say that. Anyways, this is almost like the pastor was delivering messages just for me. And he did last time too. Like he's so the last service he mentioned something about a Christ child being born and some weird stuff. And so I think that the 144 are going to have like they have the light, the Holy Spirit, which is the embodiment of Christ. So they have the Christ consciousness, and they're going to have the next generation of Christ children. So, and they're going to be raised the right way without all this generational trauma. So that's what I think. And he mentioned as something that, it's like he's speaking, because I think that's what all of us are going to be doing. But this time, he mentioned like about restoration. And the songs that we were singing had 22s in them. So he said like 222. And I wrote down the ones, because I did this at the other church. The other one, they would have a lot of 17s. And this service, like the songs were 222 verse 2. There's one of them. There's 221 verse 4. And I just saw a lot of 22s there. And he was preaching about how God was going to turn the Israelites' shame into fame and praise when they are restored. It's like he's speaking right to me. So our shame, which we have, we are humiliated. We are humiliated. It's going to be turned into fame, and we are going to be praised. Yeah, people, they're just saying, oh, wow, congratulate, or good job, you know, because we are not narcissists. We are not taking advantage. We're just trying to, you know, live our lives and leave people alone. So, like, good job, you're not evil. Okay, I think. And maybe that makes us famous, I don't know. Anyways, I think maybe because we're peculiar or weird or odd somehow, that might have a little something to do with it, too. I don't know. Okay, anyways, he was mentioning Josiah. He was doing the Old Testament last time and this time, which is good. He wasn't really mentioning epistles of Paul, surprisingly. And he said he normally doesn't, but he was going over the Old Testament and why he had these candles, what these candles represented, and why they were celebrating Christmas. And he says it's not because of the pagan holidays, it's after the pagan holidays, and we do this because it's like the darkest night. And this actually, I like, you know, I can get behind that. I can bet this man, okay, he's the first one that wasn't doing it just to get along and to conform to the world. He was saying, we do this because this night is the darkest night of the year. And then it starts to get lighter and lighter. And so it's that bringing that light back into, like the Holy Spirit, increasing the light from that point forward is supposed to be what the Advent calendar is about or something. I don't remember. Something like that. So you know what? That does make sense. Astrologically, God did make that, the stars and things as signs for us. So I can get behind that, and we do have like festival lights and things. We're supposed to be following these biblical holidays. And he was talking about Josiah, who is like bad king, bad king, bad king, good king, removed the idol worship. He was talking about removing the idol worship. He actually covered this, which none of the other pastors I've heard ever cover this. Like a good king that took out all the idols and smashed like well, I don't want to say the wrong thing, but they have things like groves, the stuff they would use to like worship these fake gods, and so those would be smashed, and I don't remember if they burnt down or I read this, but like you know what I mean, just destroying like where they worship their altars, demonic altars, and then how God gave them victory surrounding them. And then he mentioned how God saying that the I don't want to word this wrong. The pastor was speaking. I just scribbled some stuff on here. It says, "Gather my people when the time has come." It's like this pastor is speaking to me. He says, "Gather my people when the time has come." Like right now. He's talking about right now gathering. So Christ, those with the Holy Spirit, which makes us like Christ, Jesus Christ, Yeshua had the Holy Spirit, made him Christ. We get the Holy Spirit, then we become Christ too. We are a family. We are gathered together, they say, as the body of Christ. This is weird in English. It doesn't make sense. But just all of us together as like a family of friends, we are going to be gathered. Our shame will be turned into praise, and we are restored. It says God says, when we are given. So we covered in the Old Testament, removing the idol worship, giving victory to the Israelites, and gathering God's people together when the time has come for restoration, where they will be praised and be given fame. This is what I have heard before. And to hear this in the church during that service, he said, I normally don't cover this, but I'm covering it today. And someone else was out, someone I think was sick. They were supposed to give a different sermon, so the pastor did this instead. And he also mentioned something about like a woman's prison that he'd been to, and how they had 2 hours and they were getting gifts and things, and they would get to visit with so female inmates got to visit with their families. He was talking about hope and joy, and that children have hope and joy. Adults don't have that anymore. Well, I hope, and because I trust God. I'm waiting for my restoration. It'd be nice to have my house fixed, and I'm not allowed to have friends or family. Like, my father tricking me. He sure did seem like he wasn't against me, but too many signs have shown me. So that's the thing. I don't know. People might have been lying about him too, because then I mentioned him something that was said, and he said he did. He promised he didn't say that. But it's possible that they lied about him. So I don't even know. Because like, if Ahab is Ahab isn't. He lets him get away with everything. That's what I mean. He's not scheming to hurt anyone. He goes along with the enemy. I don't know. I don't know what to do here. If Ahab can repent, I would be glad. Maybe he's come closer than that than ever, because he finally said that he would stop, just doing everything for Jezebel and acknowledging that she left him. I don't know how to say this. See? Okay, so Joseph was worried what others might think about him. They had him 202 here. Yeah, so there was a 202. This was the 22s in this church. So I went to see the contemporary church, then I came back to the one where they give us breakfast. When I walked in, they have the countdown timer till the service. And I asked someone to watch my stuff, and I went to the bathroom, and then I walked in. As I'm walking in, it says, it turns to 22 seconds as I walk in. 22 seconds. And then they had hymn 202, and they had number 224, verse 2, and they had 221, verse 4, and it's like, so I was seeing 22s there. Let's see. And then one of the songs, like I think the second song maybe that they sung, was Joy to the World. Excuse me. Joy to the world, the Lord has come. The Lord has come. Gather my people, it's restoration time. Wonderful. And maybe that is like, so you have the darkest night of the year, so then the next day when the light starts to increase, maybe that's when we get our restoration. I don't, like, that's my guess, because the other times have already passed. That's got to be it. At least some of it starts then. Hi, sweetie. And then they said they're going to have a free soup dinner at the Contemporary Church next weekend before they do caroling. I do not do Satan Claus caroling. But, actually this one church, the way he described it, okay, I did like that. His explanation for that. And, let's see what is on here. Oh, and I found out a few more things. So the soup kitchen has free lunch at 11:30. And, then I hung out at, here's more. Now here's this one. This is what happened at other church. So, okay. So when I was at that church, there was a bunch of 22s. They explained to me why they celebrate Christmas in the only way I could ever get behind. The only way anyone's explained it to in a way that is not idol worship or paganism. We covered the Old Testament. He had messages for me. And then after it was over, then the guy came out, the one man who was nice to me. And also when they were serving breakfast, he came out the first time and said, if there's anything I need, or are you okay, or is there anything you need? And I recognized this man. He seemed like a nice man. And there might be more things I mention, but there's only so much I'm going to put in this video. Because you don't want to burn any bridges, he seems like a good man. And, well, I just don't have enough information. I'm saying I have suspicions. It's not the time to release this now. And nothing about him. It's about other things that happened that day. So, anyways, then I got to talking, and somehow, I don't even know how, like we were just talking a bit, and then I think they were singing or something, and they mentioned that something about a concert, and I'm like, oh. And so I started playing this, and then they're like, oh, we got free music classes here. We have free music classes here. I'm like, what? Free music classes? I said, does anyone know how to put strings on a guitar? Does anyone know how to put strings? Because I've got like these, like, what kind of good... And the guy was like, well, I would get you some strings for Christmas. He didn't say, like, for Christmas, but, I don't celebrate that. But he seemed like a godly, like a good man. Like, not an evil man. Not evil, like, good-hearted. Like, a little older, but, but good-hearted. I don't know, maybe 60 or something. I don't know. I don't want to guess wrong. But anyways, he just seemed like a good person. And he was there with his wife. I didn't speak with her too much, just a little bit. And I said, which God do you worship? Do you worship the one true living God? And they're like yeah. I said, because not everybody does. And I just quickly said something about, like, covens just go into a lot of churches, and I don't see that here, so that's good. And we just talking, and I just quickly mentioned my situation, and then I mentioned, and they were going to pray for me. I said, if you can pray for me, because I've got trial tomorrow. I've got a trial tomorrow with the devil, which slimy little weaselly wily coyote. That's what they Grinches and wily coyotes, not very intelligent. Anyways, I'm not trying to be mean. I wish they would just repent and just apologize, and then I would have even all the horrible things. But see, God knows that's not fair. We suffered way too much. They tried to kill us, like we suffered, but that if they just did, try to make things right a little bit, we would accept it, but it's not justice. Let's see here. So yeah, we ended up talking. They mentioned there's free music classes, that he's got strings, and that he could show me how and put the strings on my guitar. So who knows if this will actually happen. But there's a chance I'm going to get some new strings on my guitar. So I practiced it a little bit, so if I play tomorrow, then I'm not going to sound absolutely rusty and horrible. So, wow, totally amazing. It just seemed like a good man. He came up to me the first time I was there for the free breakfast. Probably because I'm the only person that didn't look like an addict or a criminal. And I was sitting at the table that smelled like urine. And then I sat at the other table and, said hello again. And I asked him his name. We just talked a bit. I said, anyone that plays instruments? Or they said they already have they had like some music thing where they were going to have music in there for us to listen to, but it was already choreographed and it wasn't just for anyone to stand up. Like maybe if you planned it before, but you don't just do it right now, right before. Does that make sense? But anyways, they mentioned, and I said, no, anyone that plays acoustic, both of them. And that's even why they got together, because they both played. I'm like, oh, great. So I'm going to show up at this music class and maybe get new strings on my guitar. So I said, the actual music store in this town is like 5 miles away. Okay, if you didn't know, it's like 0 degrees outside. It's really cold. Cars try to run me over, run me off the road. And I don't know how to bring a guitar in my bike basket. It's too big. It's too big. And it's $50. So there's many reasons why I'm not. But for a long time it was the money. But now, actually, that's not even the biggest reason now. But wow, free music class. And then this other church I was at. Okay, so then This service is over. I stay late and I'm talking to them, and then they tell him a little bit about my trial. And he's actually kind of interested. I don't want to tell you if you're bored. I don't want to bore you, but I just mentioned a little bit about the trial and basically how my ex. I guess we were never legally married, so I'm still single. I thought we were married. We had a ceremony, but we were never legally married. I am still single. I'm still single. Bible says you can't marry serpents, so I was never married. And it says don't marry serpents. It doesn't say no bestiality. Okay? All these people doesn't say no bestiality. It doesn't need to. Does the Bible say don't eat rocks? Does it say don't eat rocks? No, because you don't eat rocks. Does it say don't marry your cat? Don't marry your parakeet? No, because you can't. It says don't marry a serpent. So because we can't, I'm never married. And all you people that have been with serpents were never married either. Because you can't. It's interspecies. So then I took my time talking, and he said he would pray for me. Wonderful, because maybe it worked. Anyways, then I left, and I walked back a couple blocks down to the other church. And then someone opened the door because it was already in service, and I kind of snuck in towards the back and sat down. I saw a woman in front of me who I think was a witch. She had like a mischievous look on her face, and she kind of was looking back and across to somebody. I can notice these things. I know what they look like. They could even be cleaned up, well polished. There's always a look they have. There's a few different styles. Let's see. But anyways, after the service, another woman is like, she's real happy. And she's like, oh, hi, and this is my name. And I said, oh, this is, and we talk for a minute. She's like, oh, this is my new best friend. She introduces me. And she's, oh, let me show you. Or she goes up to this man, and there's a couple other guys standing there. She's like, this is my new friend. And she introduces me to this man who I saw singing in the choir. It was one of the volunteers at the soup kitchen. One of the volunteers at the soup kitchen. Okay, and I saw him singing behind the pastor at this contemporary church. And I'm like, oh, that's the guy. I think that's the guy that gives out the food at the soup kitchen. But then it wasn't good what happened, okay? Because I liked him. I thought, he liked me like he would like everybody. Because I'm not causing trouble or anything. So I thought he would like me. I thought he did like me because he would give me cupcakes and things, just like he does everybody else. He gives other people cupcakes, okay? I don't know how old he is. Maybe he's 25 or something. I don't really know. He could be 20 to 30. I don't know. I can't tell. He's got the long blonde hair, so kind of like the surfer looking guy. And then this woman I just meet, we talk for a minute. She's real nice, and she's like, look, here's my new friend. And she introduces me to the guy that passes out the food at the soup kitchen. And I thought this would be good, but immediately I see God shows me in the spirit. Immediately God shows me how he really feels. And then immediately he was jealous of me and he didn't like me. I'm like, oh my gosh, oh no. Right away, I'm like, oh no. He was, men get jealous of women, women get jealous of men. Has nothing to do with your gender. So, because she liked me, my new friend, he's like, oh. Or I can't even remember the exact way, but I saw in the spirit, because God shows me how he felt, is that he was not happy, and he was jealous. And then that caused trouble today at the soup kitchen. Just little things. But how could this escalate? What other problems could this cause? I don't know. So he was jealous because I went to the church. This other woman liked me. She said, let me introduce you to my new friend. And then he was mad because it was me. And it wasn't because I go to the soup kitchen. It's because I was her new friend and that he was jealous. My goodness. Anyways. But they mentioned that they have free food, they have a free meal and a Bible study at 11:30. So instead of going to the 11:30 soup kitchen, I'm going to go to this church for the 11:30 free meal, which is followed by a Bible study. I'm going to bring my guitar with me because after that are the music lessons 2 blocks down at this other church where maybe I can get my strings replaced. And maybe learn something, but we've made this for children. So it's going to be children and just me. I'm like, no, there's other people. I'm like, okay, it's not just kids and me. Apparently they have, it's mainly for kids, but adults can go to learn music, a place for people that don't have money. I'm like, what? What? How did I not know of this? This is amazing. And then I saw, and they mentioned the videos on how to put your strings. I said, I tried and I broke them. I've never, I did. And then when I did pay the man to put on the top string on each guitar, it was $5 per guitar. I had the top string replaced on each guitar. That's what was broken. None of the other ones were replaced. This is what I'm trying to say. The top string, I paid $5 on 2 guitars, so I paid $10 to have the top string replaced. And I watched him do it, and I was really trying hard, but I could not understand what he was doing. It was like too fast, and I don't know, like it was going this way or that way. I don't know. And like I tried to do it myself, and I broke it. I broke him. So, and I told him I tried, and I broke it. So then I had to pay somebody. But that's back when I had a car, and it was only 1 string per. To get them both redone would be $100 plus tax. And so then I'm going to get my breakfast, go to a Bible study. Maybe this is God's plan to get me to the Bible study. Maybe they'll cover something there that I need to say is wrong, and then alienate more people, and then I go to the music class. Alienate my new friend. This is what usually happens. So then I have got a to-go box with some for French bread things. Oh, what do you call that? This like the bread. I forget. I said it earlier. And it had no bacon. So I had my to-go breakfast, and I had a whole bunch of donuts, and then I get back home. I'm home for like a few minutes, say hi to the dog, and then I got a call, and it's like, oh, I'm on my way to pick you up. I'm like, what? It's only like 1:30 or something. It was like hard. I was gonna go to the gym and come back. Oh, I said, we'll be there an hour and a half. I'm like, what? I'm like, oh, it's really early. But it was fine. And so, see what happened then. So I think they took a little bit longer than that. But then, so it was supposed to just be my father. I even asked him if he was coming alone. He shows up, and I had almost all my stuff together, but then I got my guitar case, because I'm going to bring in my guitar. It was out in the garage, and it was just like got spider webs and dust on it. So I got to bring this in and vacuum it off real quick, and then I had to get the dog's water, and then I could come back out. And then I walked towards the cart, and I saw my daughter was in the front seat. Now, remember, my daughter has sold out, and she is an enemy of me. So she is in God's hands. I did not choose for her to be my enemy. Maybe we did. Maybe we decided this in the spirit. But, it is what it is. And she might be a prodigal child. She might come to repentance. It is not fair. What her father is, I said her father is a devil. And he basically was involved with giving her some type of rare mosquito-borne disease that put her in a coma. And I know she had to sell out to come back and still be alive. She had to sell out and join the enemy team. This is what her father was involved in doing to her. Okay, this is what he did to get me. So that is not right. That is not right. So anyway, so she is an enemy to me. And she was sitting in the front seat. I was told my father would be coming alone. She was there. I'm like, okay. And I thought about it a second. I'm like, I'm surprised. But then that was fine. I just kind of ignored it. I'm like, whatever. And then I come out, and we're going to go eat. So we went to this Japanese restaurant before we leave. And let's see what else here. The food was good. We were actually getting along pretty well there. Before, my mother is an enemy. She is always an enemy. I don't like that, but it is, and it's just the point where to be obedient to God, I had to stop communicating with her because it's disrespecting me. Because every time we talk, she just tries to get me. I love my mom, but like there's never an actual conversation. It's just like if it's a conversation, she gets some jabs in, or she tries to get me every time. So I said, I can't be disobedient to God. It's just, that's it. I'm not calling you back. I'm not taking your call. Because every time you try to get me, so that's it. That's it. I've given you 43 years, and you haven't changed. So now I think God would not be happy. I don't know. I don't want to be doing something wrong, So I'm just not going to answer the phone. That's fine. You don't like to talk on the phone anyways. You didn't even contact me for like a year or so. Whatever. They don't care. They don't care. They just want to get me. So anyways, But then I told her, and she had a few things of my stuff that I couldn't fit in the van, and it got dirty. And I wanted it back like a year ago, but we couldn't get it then. And then now I said I can't take it now. I got stuff, my house needs to be done. I don't have anywhere to keep stuff that mice won't get into. It's got to be clean. And so then right after I tell her I cannot take it now, then she sends stuff and puts it in my father's garage. Right after I tell her I can't take anything, and then then he calls me and tells me a couple times, the stuff's in my garage, you can come down and look. I said, no, I just told her that I couldn't take it now. That's why she put it in your garage. That's the only reason she put it in her garage. And then this time when my father picked me up when we were almost back with my daughter in the car, then he also mentioned, that stuff's in the garage for you to look at and decide what you want. I said, they're just trying to get me. It's just like a little jab. I said, I can't take it now because I don't have, I've emptied out my cabinets. I put that stuff down there. Mice got in there. I got dirty clothes. I got clean clothes down here. I got no closets. I got a room that's completely ruined because it just rains in there. And every room needs work done. I cannot take anything. And my garage is nice, but little creatures can get in there. I don't have a safe place, so I'll have to get it after my house is done or whatever. And so she sends it there, and it's just to kind of stress me out, or so that there's an argument and I look bad. That's all it is. It's something stupid. This is just all they do. See. So. No, we ended up getting back, and I'm waiting a long time because my daughter had driven her car over to my father's house to go with him, and then she was just scraping the ice off. It must have taken a half hour or something. She was going kind of slow, and that car was iced over, and so I think that she was sent to spy on me, to see if I was freaking out, or to see what information I had, to see what my plan was, or to stop me from making a plan. So she was sent to spy on me, to see what I knew, to see what my plans were, and then report that back to her father, okay? But I didn't prepare anything, and I don't have any plans. I just have the truth. And the truth, that's all I have. I said I don't prepare anything. My father keeps trying to stress me out and said, you're not taking this serious. I don't think you're taking this serious. You're not taking this serious. And then he gets all stressed out, which is what he's trying to do, is he wants to stress me out and make me seem like a bad person. He's like, you're not taking this thing seriously, and it makes you feel bad because his health's not good, and he did lend me the money for the house, but I don't know, he's using this to attack me, and just so I don't. And he's like, I don't think I can get any sleep. I tell him, you're not allowed to worry about me. He does this stuff where he casting a spell or something. I said, you're not allowed to worry about me. So anyways, and she finally leaves. We watch a movie, and this movie is about a juror that committed a crime. So, of course, it's something making me think about a trial. The whole movie is about a trial, and it's stressful. And then it's also about this couple that have a baby, and they love this baby. And it's you wanted to watch this movie, and it had nothing to do with the entire movie is about a trial. A guy is worried about getting caught for something he did and getting in trouble, and then losing his child. This has to do with my life in some ways. So, yeah, you're trying to upset me by watching this movie. I'm not stupid. Maybe he wasn't. But the demon's in him. If he's got a demon in him, then it was thinking this movie might, it might trigger her in some way. And then, because when my daughter left, too, she is an enemy. She had to sell out, but she was put in a bad situation. And if the only alternative was to die right then, it's better that she sold out, I think, because she could repent. I'm just gonna say that God has got this. So it's not that simple. Here she is, young, about to graduate high school, and her father is involved in almost killing her. And so what choice? There's no good choice. There's no good choice in this situation. So, God's already planned this. But then she comes back in, she hugs, so she keeps doing, she hugs my father, and she's, bye, Grandpa, I love you. And she doesn't even say goodbye. And I'm sitting right, so he's in the chair, I'm in the couch right next to it. And then she's in the door, it comes through in between both. She's like, bye, and she hugs him. And he's involved in this too. She hugs him, say, love you, and then she walks right past me. And I don't even think she said bye. And I said, bye. I said, bye. And then she left. See, they're trying to hurt me. Like, whatever. Whatever. You don't want me? Bye-bye. I don't care if you're my daughter. I love you, but you are an enemy. And this is what I'm saying. It's a tough situation. It's a tough situation. But I'm not going to go and cry about this. But at the same time, I understand she didn't ask to be put in a coma. She didn't ask to be almost killed. And she probably would have died, like, if she didn't sell out. She didn't ask for that. But it is what it is now. So they did this too at the trial. So anyways, then she leaves. We watched the movie that was supposed to trigger me. And then after that, like, my father's mentioning how, like, we gotta think about some stuff. And, look at this, and then go upstairs. And then he had this thing printed, and he prints this thing out again that he sent me like a year ago or something, or a year and a half ago, like stuff I need to consider for the trial, like my advice you didn't ask for, and then it was like stuff kind of blaming me, and it looked like, just telling me what to do. I looked at it for a second and said, oh yeah, remember you sent that to me like a year ago or something. I already looked at it. And he's just trying to stress me out, get me thinking about this right before bed so that I don't get enough sleep or stress me out. And I said, it's fine. God's got this. I'm going to win it. There's no way he can win. And he keeps bringing all this stuff. And I said, it doesn't matter. It's irrelevant. It's irrelevant. It doesn't matter. I said, God's going to beat this. I don't want to do anything. He's telling, so my father's getting on. He's like, you're not taking this serious. I'm not going to be able to get any sleep. Oh. And then you feel bad because he can hardly walk. And it makes me feel bad, really. And he even said when we were downstairs, I can hardly get around, and I just sit here alone, and I just turn on the TV and, for some noise, and he's just trying to make me feel bad. So then, like, when I talked to him a little bit on the phone, though, he wanted to get off right away. So, like, was that a lie, too? Was that a lie, too? Because you really do like to go watch the TV and you don't want to listen to me? But anyways, see. So he tries to stress me out, and I had brought my guitar, and I was messing with it a little bit, and he was just trying to, like, ignore that and dismiss it, not say it's good or anything. I said, it sounds bad. But it wasn't bad. Like, he could have said it was good, but he didn't. He just kind of ignored it and was like, you're not taking this seriously. You gotta look into what should you do. And he kept trying to make me he kept saying, you need to get a picture of the wedding, where you were married to your ex for all these years. And he keeps saying that. I said, that doesn't matter. I said, I don't need that. And then he keeps trying to pull up the picture on Facebook, which I blocked him, and I made the pictures private. Even if he wasn't blocked, I made all my pictures private on there so you can't see it. I said, I already took that stuff down. If they ask me it and it comes up, then I'll just testify and say that we had a marriage ceremony. I don't need that. I don't need a picture of the wedding. So he's just trying to get me to think about it and be sad. I say, well, you were married and, all these years, and you were, like, that doesn't matter. I'm like, yeah, I don't need that. He's like, you're not taking this serious. You could lose a lot. I don't remember what he said you could lose. He didn't really say that, but he just wanted me to think about, I was married, I had a wedding, here's a child, here's a trial, or it's stressful, just like, and then, like, he's getting frustrated, and he's like, I'm not going to get any sleep. I said, go to sleep, you're not allowed to worry. And I wasn't worried at all. I said, God's going to win this. God's going to win this. I don't need to worry, I don't remember exactly what I said. That's about it. I said, whatever. I said, you want to see the binder he sent? And he flipped through it a little bit. And I'm like, okay, see, isn't that ridiculous? And then he's like, you need to get a bank document or this. I said, I don't need that. So God's going to win. None of this stuff's all a scam and a fraud. I don't need anything. So, turns out I was right again. I tell you worry all the time. And I said, most of the time you worry, there was nothing to worry about. So just don't worry. He does this to try to stress me out as an attack, I think. But then he's also the only one that, like, helps me, like, financially or seems to care in certain ways. That's what I mean, like. So I don't know. Maybe he does. I don't know. Or maybe the only reason he does is so... Because otherwise I wouldn't talk to him at all. I don't know what to say. Because if it was all negative and no good, it's like he's the only one that helps me, but then he also tries to get me. Like, but my mother doesn't even help me. She just tries to get me. So I stop. But with him, like, it does look like he tries to help me too. So that's why, yeah, I don't know. But then, pretending like, oh, I'm so lonely here. And then, oh, but you didn't want to talk then. You called to let me know you were back. And then I tried to tell you something. And you were in a rush to get off the phone. So that was probably another lie. Give me a minute here and drink my diet soda from the soup kitchen. And he kept getting all flustered um, about the parking, because it's like downtown Columbus, the courthouse where the parking is, and how he was told it was hard to get a spot, and it was, but we gotta be there real early. We gotta get up at 6:30, and okay, yeah, it's fine. There's no reason to be stressed about it, but yeah, I don't like downtown. I'm glad to have left. It's awful. It sucks. Like, if I lived there, actually, if I had a bicycle, it would be good, because there's a lot of places you can park a bike, but with cars, it's really horrible. I would never want to have a car in downtown Columbus. See what happens. So my trial was set for today at 9 a.m. 9 a.m. And this was like, oh my gosh, when was this? This trial, like, this whole legal thing, I mean, it's been going on for like a year or something, just hanging over my head. Like, it was delayed and pushed back, and then the first lawyer died, or maybe killed, and then there was another one, and they're gone, and I don't know. But anyways, it kept getting pushed back, and then finally, December 15th was the day of the trial at 9 a.m. So this was like a year in the making to get to this trial, because it was supposed to be many months before then. And because the lawyer died, then it was pushed back again. So, then my father, I think this was another attack. He kept freaking out, and I said, just go park, and you can come in with me. And he refused, and then he let me out in front of the courthouse. And I know he had planned this. He was like getting flustered and talking about the parking situation is bad, and my other daughter was talking about it, and then all those handicap ones nearby, like, people were in the spot. So I'm like, I'll just wait for you. We got a long time until it starts. But he let me out. He insisted on it. And what he said later probably confirmed why. I was supposed to walk in alone, walk in past people, and see if I would be intimidated. Who knows? Maybe this is even my idea. I don't know. No, I don't need to walk in with you. I'll walk in on my own. And so, then I go in, and it's kind of like, what am I doing? I don't know. It's like this big giant building. Don't know where to go. And I kind of wander a little bit. Like, oh, here's the security. And then I got to take my bags off and send them through. They're probably making sure nobody has weapons in the courthouse. Good idea. But anyways, yeah, I'm sure there's a lot of narcissists out there. It's a good thing you have a security there. Anyways, then I go in, past the security a few feet, and I walk past where the elevators are. My ex, his parents are there. So this is what, they wanted me to be intimidated or get upset, because his dad was standing there and his mother was sitting down over here. And so then I just saw him, and I looked, and I didn't care. And they kind of like looked away a little bit. They didn't look at me. They were just supposed to stand there and stress me out. And then I kind of went back, and I went towards the elevators, because I didn't know where I was going. I'm like, okay. I thought about, do I ask him where the kid thing is? But I'm like, no, I'm not going to talk to him. If I talked to him, they would just ignore me, or like, ugh. Or they would do something real rude. Because they're narcs too. It's a narc family. Well, the mother, she went along with it. I actually heard her, like, regret her decision to be with her husband, that what a bad choice she made. She regretted that. And I think I saw, like, her actually get upset, too. Like, she would manifest spirits. But I actually think at one point she was upset because she saw I as a good person, and I actually would have been a good daughter-in-law. And she regretted her decision to be with the person she was with, because part of this was selling out to get a trip to France. So I think that I think it really looks like the preponderance of evidence looks like they killed another family member who had cancer, was kept at their house. I wasn't told about it. I didn't get to visit. And they were taking care of her, and she died while she was there and signed over all of her money to them. After then, we went on a trip to France. And I remember her getting upset and crying because, like, when we were going to this museum or something, then my ex's father, her husband, like, he was like complaining a little bit or just wanted to leave this museum. And then she's like, if I knew this, I never would have married him. She said something like that. So she was having, and then another time I mentioned again, like I told this to her before, and it's like she didn't listen, or it was something else, and I mentioned it again, and then she heard it, and it's almost like she got really upset when I said about the dog. Their dog, when it was old, instead of putting it down, came to our house. And I said how happy she was, like when she was dying, like she was going to heaven and coming back to let me know how happy she was, like smiling. I was telling her that. And then I saw she was just really, cause her husband, and he was like, get that damn dog out of here, because she would go to the bathroom. He's like, so she regretted, but she's an enemy, and she's trying to get me. So that's what I mean. They sell out, then they're an enemy. I think she had regrets. She's not the same type. They are familiar narcissists. They have the same serpent in that body. It goes back and forth. So, anyways, though I did see it pull out of the body when it was caught, or I saw it so I don't know if it was sucked into hell or something. God showed me something when I called it out, and I mentioned this. Like it was like it had been caught, and I think it might have been pulled into hell or something. So, anyways, but a certain voice and certain things that were in my ex, I saw in his father. Anyways, so this trial was supposed to be at 9 a.m. It had been set like many months ago. And we just, like, I just go and sit down, and I go in, and it says, a court is in session, quietly open the door, and then I go in, I look around a bit, and I sit in the front, and no one's in there. And then I'm in there for like a minute or so, and then the door creaks open. I see my ex, and he pokes his head. He like looks through the crack in the door, like, and he sees me. And it's all like, oh, with like kind of disgust, like I'm so horrible. And then like I'm just sitting there for a minute, and then it was kind of weird because they're back a row further, and it's like they can see me. So then I was just a little too exposed there. I just didn't want them staring at me. So then I actually, because I'm on the right side, so I actually went in, and the left side was a lot bigger, and the right side was smaller. And I thought, right-hand path, I'm going to sit on the right. Left-hand path, they can sit on the left. So then I decided, because of the right and the left, this is a religious reason, I chose to sit on the right. Then I moved to there was like 3 rows there. I moved to the back. And then I was kind of sitting there, and I kind of closed my eyes, and I was like, I was awake, but I was just rested my eyes a little bit. And then he comes in, and after some minutes, his parents come in, and I didn't even look at him. I'm just sitting there. And there's nothing going on. We got there a bit early. I was sitting there for like a half hour or so. And then, I don't know, about 15 minutes later, my father comes in. And then, like, he goes to sit next to me, and I scoot over a little bit. And then I noticed, like, I didn't even know before, my daughter is on the other side. She's going to testify against me. And I already know there's an affidavit she submitted. So she was going to testify against me. And then she's like, oh, hello, Grandpa. And she went to hug my grandpa. I'm like, you know, I love you or whatever. So she was there on the other side to testify. And then they joke a little bit. Like, trying to make me feel jealous. Trying to make me feel bad. But I don't. And I'm just sitting there and waiting. And at some point someone comes in, they mention, oh, the judge is sick or whatever, might have to reschedule. They were talking about somebody else's trial. And then the time comes and passes, and they're like, what are you here for? And they go back, and then it's like 15, 20 minutes after 9 or something. The trial has already supposed to take place. And then they're like, oh, well, you know what? He called us at 9 a.m. and said he was sick. So he's sick. Out of all the times he could be sick, he calls in sick when the trial is supposed to start. So I would say, well, like, we're sitting there for like an hour, because we were there early, and then they were late. So then, like, I was in there just kind of like sitting there and just by myself for a while, and just kind of like closing my eyes a little bit and sitting there. I'd sniff a little bit every once in a while because of my sinuses. And then, like, after a while, I thought, well, then I canceled the demonic assignments. And then I said to burn down the demonic altars in this courthouse. And I said, then to fill this courthouse, well, I don't know what order, with heavenly angels, holy angels. So I'm like, and give people justice and let the truth, and let all the people in here that need help them, and let the truth be known in all the trials going on in this courthouse. And so, like, I sent them all around. Maybe that's why God brought me there, because there's somebody else that day, somebody else in there needed help, because I was in there a long time. And then after, like, maybe a half hour or something, I don't remember, maybe after 45 minutes or something, then I'm like, oh, wait. And then I'm like, cancel demonic assignments. Burn, destroy, burn with holy fire. I don't know what I don't remember exactly. Something like that. Destroy all the demonic altars. Let the truth, be known. Let the Holy Spirit, let the light shine. Let the evil be, I don't know what I said. Something like, so the justice be served. Fill this courthouse, return this courthouse to the kingdom, like restore it. And then I like envisioned it like turning blue and being healed and being turned to good. And the good people would win their cases and the bad people would lose. And then way past when, I don't know, like 20 minutes after it was supposed to start, they come out and they say, okay, the judge was sick and he had to cancel, so we'll have to reschedule. They come in and say, he's sick today. He's sick today. We'll have to reschedule. And then, so it's a woman comes out and she looks nice. She looks really sweet and kind. She says, you're going to have to reschedule. You said about 60 days. I said 2 months. Because that's an awful long time to reschedule this trial. 2 months? 2 months? 2 months? Yeah. It's like, I'm like, oh. And she's like, make sure. And then here's me. And make sure that I have your information. And here's my name and my email. And as if there's anything you want to mediate or something here while you're here. And I said, yeah, is there a way to force the sale of the house now? And they're like, you can do that. And then actually I thought, you know what? If I'm doing that, I'm going to do that here, where I live. And not 2 hours away in Columbus. I'm going to do that in my small town. I'll go to my courthouse and do that. Because I can bike down to my courthouse in 15 minutes. 10 minutes, 15 minutes. Well, probably 15 unless the weather's good, I'm just going to say. Instead of having to get a ride to Columbus. So anyways, we did not follow through with that, anything else. She was real kind, and then she took and said, what's your name, and what's your email in this, and confirmed it, and then she asked, what's your number, and I can't remember it. So my father pulled up his phone. I wanted to use my landline, because sometimes my Google Voice, like the browser's crashed, and I have to refresh it. So he looked at, I'm sorry, I can't remember my number, and he looked it up and gave it to her, and then she asked my ex for his information, and she pronounced his name wrong in a way that made him mad. She pronounced his name wrong in a way that he never would have liked. I'm sorry, God forgive me, as I should not be taking joy in this. They have humiliated me. They have humiliated me so much that this does make me a little happy. Because it does make me a little bit happy. And she said, okay, Mr. And she said his name wrong, and it sounded funny. And then, so he said, well, can I submit these binders? The same one is, yeah, because you've given her one. That's why he had to send me the binder, because he was submitting that as his evidence. So that's why I have a copy of it. Anyways, I did not see an attorney there. He did not have one, but he has his parents, and he has one of his daughters, as the other has already been married and moved far away and will not talk to him anymore. And then on the other side, it was me and my father. And so maybe next time it'll just be me. I don't know. In 2 months, if this is even rescheduled, as you never can know. You can never know. Was the judge really sick? Because, like, canceling the demonic assignments, let's say my ex murdered his first lawyer, and then he got another one that he fired and was acting erratically, or that quit because he was acting erratically, or doing something. Okay? And maybe the judge had some concerns, or the law enforcement had some concerns, and maybe he wasn't sick, or maybe he was sick. So either God, got him sick, and then he called in sick. This is the amazing thing. He got sick, and he called in at 9 a.m. to tell his staff he was sick. My trial was set for 9 a.m. He didn't call it 8 a.m. He didn't call it 7 a.m. He called it 9 a.m. on the date and time of the trial. Like my goodness. And then I told my father, I said, see, look, God's got my back. Look what God has done. Here he was trying to stress me out and get all of this information that's totally irrelevant and doesn't matter. Okay? I said, God's going to win this. I don't need to prepare. I'm not going to prepare. God's going to win this. I said, didn't you see what God did today? The judge called in sick at the exact time my trial was supposed to start. And then it's rescheduled for 2 months out, maybe, something like that. It might be rescheduled. It's about 2 months, about 60 days. And they pronounced my ex's name wrong, and he was like, kind of, he's like, you take this binder, can I submit this now? I'm like, yeah. But the woman was so nice when she saw me. So, I don't know. I don't know what's going on here. Maybe I will upload. Should I even upload this video? I don't know. Maybe I will. I don't think he's watching my channel. Because I have hardly any subscribers. I have less than 200 subscribers. Chances are he's not watching. But, it did go through my mind as maybe law enforcement is watching him. Maybe if the judge, maybe the judge is corrupt, or maybe the judge is honest. Because if he's honest and rules the wrong way, it's possible that he could be in danger. That is possible. His life could be in danger. And, I actually can clearly say, things that have happened, and you can check this, you can look this up. Yeah, the fire department was called to my house. Yes, I did pass out and had to have a medical team at the haunted house, and I had an elevated heart rate. Yes, this is true. I did message all these different people and tell them that I was poisoned almost 2 years ago, or 2 years ago. I did. I have evidence. You can look it up. Oh yeah. And I also have videos and other things. And surely they know. In the day I was going to go to the police, there's a shooting right here. And the shots went into the neighbor's house. And then a car pulls into my driveway. Well, I was right there in my van with the headlights on, facing down. They decided to leave. I'm sure they have tried to get me in other ways. The people, trying to, run the red light right in front of me so I hit their car. Just all types of stuff they try to do, and just tamper with my stuff. I don't know. If the police are actually following me, they probably have so much evidence I don't even know about. So much. Because, if this whole Trump administration is a sting operation, and let's say if they're doing that for all of us believers too, all the chosen ones, can you imagine what they have? Things we didn't even know. What they are doing, this is wild. But, it could also just be he got sick. Maybe God put me there that day to pray that justice would be served for the other people in that courtroom, and then I'll come back another day and then can do another prayer. And I thought to reclaim this courthouse for God, for the kingdom of God, and justice would be served here, and cancel the demonic assignments. So maybe that needed to be done before my trial. And anything else I don't want to do in Columbus, I can do it right here. I'm going to go on my bike downtown. Okay, so wow. And then, anyways, we had a coffee, and I can't even remember, headed back, and my father stopped in the Walmart parking lot so I could go and buy me some more instant coffee and a little thing of milk so I can have my evening coffee if I feel like it. And, let's see what else. Well, I stopped in the gym for a minute, and we said goodbye, and he left, and then I went to the soup kitchen, and the man was at the church, and I mentioned, oh, hey, are you going to be at the church? And he said, oh, yeah. And he said, what church thing? He said, and then he noticed it was me, so he might not have known it was me at first. And I said, oh, the Bible study. He said, oh, I have an appointment. I'm normally there, but I can't because I have an appointment tomorrow. And he looked normal. He looked like he wasn't angry at me. I was not seeing him in the spirit now. I was seeing him how he looks to the rest of the people. So God shows me in the spirit the way he feels. Then I see the way he just looks to everyone else. Okay? And then when I needed to take my lefter, so I got seconds, and then I had like 3 pieces of pizza, and I had like a donut, and I had like an orange, and he was, they always pass out the extra pizza bags at the end. So do you want this? I said, oh, no, thanks, but do you have something I can put these in? He said, yeah, I'll get you something. And then he started talking to people, and then people were leaving, and they're getting ready to go. And then I met another woman there. So basically, I'll get into that in a minute. That's what happened today. It's nuts. So then it's just a silly thing of like getting me 2 pieces of foil so I can wrap up my donut, and I had 3 pieces of cheese pizza. So I can wrap them up, put them in my freezer. I can eat them on the weekend when the soup kitchen is closed. And there's no soup kitchen on Saturday. And there's like a free meal on Sunday. So I bring some food home. I can eat it on Saturday. Or if my dogs ran out of food, I can give them some pizza. I know it's not healthy, but, it's better than them being hungry. And and then I'm waiting, and I'm waiting, and I'm waiting. And then there's another woman. She talked to me for a minute and got sidetracked. And she said, actually, could I get a couple pieces of foil or something? And I said, I asked Dustin, but it's taking a minute. And I said his name. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Anyways, you don't know which Dustin it is. And then, and so I asked him, I don't know, it's just been a minute. And then she goes back, she's taking her gloves off. She wasn't going to get in that stuff. And she walks back there. And then he does come out, and I said, oh, thank you. And he said, oh, sorry, I forgot. I knew what it was. He accidentally forgot on purpose. Because then he didn't realize I was the person from the church, and he was jealous when this woman from the church, who liked him, and I believe was his friend, said, here's my new friend. So she was introducing me to her other friend, and she said, here's my new friend. And then I saw the look on his face. The jealousy, and then he didn't like me. Because I was his friend's new friend. And I didn't ask for this. I just said like hello and stuff. I didn't ask for this. So God is showing me, God is teaching me. But great. Now please don't cause trouble with my meals. Maybe we can get along. Like if he shows up and and sees I'm not trying to take away your friend. I'm not. I did not. I'm so used to not having friends that I don't need any friends. I really don't. I could be by myself. It's just fine. Okay. I don't need anyone else. I talk to my webcam, and so this is my therapy. But anyways, let's see. I did meet another woman there, and she came up to me, and and we just talked about, or there was a police officer there, and another man, and her there, and I kept glancing. I was trying to eat quickly, because you can't leave your tray or someone will mess with it. So I was trying to finish all my food, and then go and talk to her and see, why is this cop here? Because I was going to see what's going on. And the cop was talking to another man and to her. Because I didn't know if something happened, and I wanted to see. And so then I hurry up and finish my food enough that I leave the tray. I ate all of it, except there was like this giant donut thing I had, and I ate the filling out, and I just had some of the plain bread left on that. And I'm like, and then the guy was coming by and said, I want to come back. I'm done with that. I was going to come back. And I went over to talk to her and said, the police officer, I said, what happened? And they're like, oh, no, nothing. This is my son. I'm like, oh, okay. I thought that they were reporting something because they were talking. We're hanging out. I'm like, oh, okay. I said, oh, okay, that's good. And then I thought about checking my bike to make sure it was still there. Somebody mentioned my fluffy bike seat I bought on Temu. I got a fluffy seat cover for my bicycle for the winters because it does make my seat a little warmer. Actually, the seat was cold. So, watch. You're not a Kingdom of Darkness. I forbid you from stealing my fluffy bike seat covers that I bought on Temu. You can go get your own. They're less than $10. You can go buy your own on Temu. Do not steal mine. And I already set my ass on them. So anyways, when someone mentioned that, and it does not get wet. I'm like, yeah, it does sometimes. I said, I bet that's warm. I'm like, yeah, but you can get your own. You don't have to steal mine. You don't have to steal mine. Go buy your own. Go make your own. Yeah. I got it so that, because I ride my bike, I want to be warm. I want to be warmer. Anyways, I'm talking to this woman for a while. And I said, oh, my situation, financially is not great. I said, I waited until, things got pretty bad before coming here. I didn't want to, and then, I didn't say too much. And me and this other person here, if there's anything you want to tell me, we keep it confidential. And she seemed like she could be an ally. I mean, honestly. And her son was the police officer. So I thought the police officer was there and they were reporting a crime and I wanted to go see what was going on. But no, that was her son. So what's the police? I said, what's going on? They're like, oh, no, that's my son. I'm like, oh, okay, no crime. That's good, I guess. and it turned, and she mentioned something that I was with a man that wasn't very good for more than 20 years. And so she was in a bad situation. He said, actually, that's why I'm here. I said, I was with the devil for more than 20 years. And then she was interested and wanted to hear. And I was like, yeah, you just kind of, things get worse. You've been under attack for a couple of years and things get worse and worse. And you just kind of get used to things not being good. She's like, yeah, I understand. And, but she seemed more concerned, she dealt with abused women. I don't feel like I'm an abused woman at this point. I feel like people try to murder me and I'm oblivious to it, but I do see them try to mess with my food and my bike, and I don't like that. I'm hyper vigilant about trying, angels protect my bike this day or something. But if something happens, that's because I'm supposed to go get another bike, a charity bike. I don't know. But anyways, I don't feel like an abused woman, but I guess I am. But then she was talking to me in this way. It's like no one had extended that olive branch to me. I don't feel like that way, but I am an abused woman, is the thing. And if you were with the devil as a man, you were an abused man. But I don't know what she went through. But then she said, she was probably a little bit older than me, but she had been with a bad man and she thought things were going to get better. We just said this in a couple sentences. And they did not, and I didn't hear any specifics. I'm not saying any specifics on here. And they said, oh, actually, it's kind of why I'm here, because I was with the devil for more than 20 years. And so she was going to hear more of my story. And then, I don't know if this is her kid, or maybe it was her grandkid. The police officer is an adult, so maybe that is her kid. There's some little kids there. Maybe those are her grandkids, and they come up, and then, we started talking, and then, these are young, maybe 6, 7, or maybe 6 years old, and so then this would be inappropriate to talk about certain things in front of them. And I said, why don't I go get another tray, and then we can talk after, and I go sit down, and she's talking to other people, she's busy, and, I'm eating, and then, I'm trying to get, some foil at this point from Dustin. I'm trying to get some foil to wrap my leftovers in. And then she's trying to head out the door. They're wanting to leave. So why don't we just talk tomorrow? Yeah, it's probably, cause they do actually close at some point. So it's probably better to talk tomorrow anyways. There was a lot of people, and her son was there. So, she was busy talking to them, and people were talking to her, and they were wanting to close down because they want to close as early as possible because it gets dark. It gets dark really soon, and it's December 15th. It gets dark at 5:30 or something. So they want to be out of there, and so wow, totally wild. Well, something else happened, I'm sure. So they got that food, brought it home, visited my dogs. They were so sweet, so loving. They're so happy now that I'm back. I was able to cover my little girl up. I'm sure she messed that bed up. She messed up the couch and the little orange cover probably 5 minutes after I left, and was cold the whole time because I wasn't here to cover her up. I had to leave. I was gone for a day. I took my heavy-duty bike lock. This thing is heavy-duty chain. It's heavy. My bike lock is really, you could murder somebody with this thing. It's like, well, maybe not, because I'll explain why. This bike lock I bought, it was like $20, okay? I'm really glad I bought it, because just for today, it was worth it. I said, I will charge myself into debt for these dogs. I have this house, mainly for these dogs. If I did not have these dogs, I would not have this house. This house is for my dogs' needs. The yard, the location, the walking streets. So what am I even talking about? Oh yeah, my bike lock. It's like thick, heavy chain. Like, it's heavy. It weighs pounds. And then it's like wrapped in like Kevlar or something, so that you can't even use bolt cutters. And then like the lock on it's super heavy duty, all metal, and it's thick around it, and then it's got many layers where they all lock separately. And it's like a kryptonite lock. And so I was able to wrap this through my chain link fence and wrap it so that it would just barely fit it through, so it was tight. And that way nobody can open that. Nobody messes with my fence. Nobody opens the door. But if I'm gone for a whole day, I don't even want to have the single thought cross my mind that that gate door could be opened by anyone and messed with by anyone. So I went and I wrapped that bike lock around my gate door so you couldn't even move it, maybe an inch. Is that because I am a targeted individual. The whole kingdom of darkness comes after me, but those dogs are highly protected. Angels do protect them. But for my own safety, I thought, I'm going to lock that, because then I don't have to worry. I don't want to have that worry in my mind. You know, I was more worried about leaving them than I'm about this stupid trial. But this stupid trial has also kept me, it's God's plan, has kept me from getting a job. I'm not allowed to have a job. Has kept me where I am. As God keeps me in this situation, like with no clean clothes, I'm supposed to go to the soup kitchen. Like, yeah, I have to be poor. I have to run out of money. I have to start eating the food of the people. And then I have to learn a lot of things. I have to learn spiritual warfare. I have to deal with Christians that are Pharisees. I have to deal with Christians that are enemies. But then, once I know how to do that, then I can go to the soup kitchen, and then here's addicts, and here's more narcissists. It's like a level up. So once you know how to deal with these, then you can deal with these. And so it's totally wild. But I got to cover her up again. This is the first time I've been going to that soup kitchen a while. This is the first time they've had pop. They normally do not give us pop at all. And sometimes this is a funny thing, going to the soup kitchen. I love the food. But occasionally I'll see somebody has used their own money and buys pop and brings it in. And then I want it. So, like, I never liked pop before. I never drank it. But, like, when they had the Thanksgiving meal, people came in the parking lot of the soup kitchen and they brought their own leftovers, and I got some of it, and then someone just brought a bunch of pop, and then I drank several of them, and then I'm like, I kind of like this, I want more of it. And so then I wanted it for the first time, and I didn't have it, and the soup kitchen never had it, so they had it today. So I had the choice between orange, which is always a little too carbonated, a little too strong, and this Diet Mountain Dew. And since I used to drink Mountain Dew 25 years ago, then I had to get this Diet Mountain Dew, which does taste pretty much the same as Mountain Dew. I do not care that this is diet or not. It's just that I had a choice between Mountain Dew and orange soda, so I had to go with this. Because you can get many types of orange soda, but there's only one Mountain Dew. So, anyways, I am going to enjoy this once my video is over. Surely more has happened again. I don't know. Hopefully tomorrow I can go get a meal, do a Bible study. They'll probably bring up pork or the epistles of Paul. Then I'll alienate more people and tell them their religious beliefs are wrong. Then walk over, possibly get my guitar, get a little free lesson. Who knows what level this is. Maybe it's for 5-year-olds, I don't know, 10-year-olds. And then maybe even get some new strings. You guys will love it because my guitar sounds really bad right now. So, wow, that's it. Amazing. God totally protected me. And I even told my father. He totally recognized. And he said, they canceled my trial. I was a defendant. It was him coming after me. Okay? Going through multiple attorneys. I don't know how many attorneys he went through. I just assumed 2. He could have went through more than that. Those are just the ones that I was aware of. I don't know. So anyways, him versus me trying to get me, saying that I don't get my half the value of the house, that I get nothing. It's ridiculous. It's a scam and a fraud. But if it's corrupt enough, he could possibly win if it's corrupt. But I trust God. And what did God do? Right when my trial was supposed to start, the judge calls in sick. And then this kind, sweet woman comes out, and then she asks for our information. And when she says my ex's name, she pronounces it wrong, and then that mispronunciation sounds funny. And I am sorry. I'm not trying to, but then when I point this out, it's like, this is extra proof that it was from God, because it's not just the cancellation; it's also the name. Since you see what God did, is I don't have to prepare anything. I'm not supposed to prepare, because it's not the Israelites that formulate this plan and they win. They don't win in their own power at all. They're just there. They just show up, and they just have to trust God, and then God provides the victory. So that's what I'm saying. I always want to do stuff, of my own power, and I can do anything or whatever. I know it sounds dumb. And then these last 2 years, no, I can't. Like, people argue, no, you could do this, you could do that, you could do this. You know what? That was my problem. Because I always thought of solutions. And I put myself above God. Because, and I don't mean like that, but what I'm saying is, instead of going to God for a solution, I would just think of solutions. So God has me in the situation where I am not allowed to solve anything. Like, I am stuck. I try to move this way, God blocks me. I try to move that way, God blocks me. Like, I am blocked. And I am in this situation. I know, I have learned. So many hundreds of things have happened to me that I know. Okay, I see the sign. Do not proceed. Nothing will happen. So, God will provide the victory. Nothing that I can formulate, nothing I can think of will work unless it is God's plan. And anything that is not God's plan, anything that is not the perfect plan, is blocked. Because God is only allowing the very best for the believers. This is restoration season. Second best is not allowed. So I don't know. Maybe these people believe what I'm saying, and maybe they're just enemies and they're trying to stop me from my own blessing. But I know I'm just supposed to not do anything and trust God. So God gives me enough stuff to do. Like, just going for lunch and going for dinner, going to the gym in the middle, it's like all day. Like, because I'm on a bicycle, it takes all day to do this. And then it's dark. And it's like, if I'm supposed to do something, then I get an invitation, I see somebody manifest a spirit or channel, it's very clear. And now I've got a day I'm supposed to do laundry and talk to someone else. And then after we've talked a little bit, then I can say something else the next time. So, yeah, totally wild. God is ordering our steps and is aligning everything just right. And I can't go and research and say, I can say this. If he says that, I'll say this. No, I'm not allowed to do that. I said, no, God provides the victory. I'm not preparing. That's almost like being disobedient to God. Read your Old Testament, people. So anyways, that is today, December 15th. And yeah, I thought about calling my father to see if he got home okay, because he makes me feel bad with his health not being good and guilt trips me. But also, I do feel bad. And so I thought about calling him and talking to him. And then he called me. And I said, you want to know what happened today? And I talked to him a little bit about this thing at the soup kitchen. And he's like, oh, okay, well, I gotta go eat something. And I gotta go. Love you. I'm like, okay, bye. So, yeah. That was probably another lie. Maybe not. Maybe it wasn't. Maybe it wasn't, But, always saying, I'm hard to deal with. You tried it, and I blocked it, and then it didn't continue. So that probably worked when I blocked it. Because I am actually really easy to get along with. And, saying how we just don't get along. That's not true. I'm easy to get along with. It's just, trying to nitpick and cause, an argument or stress me out. And so I try to, deflate or de-escalate this stuff. But it's kind of silly. You have an older person, they're grumpy. And it was worse, and he's getting better. It was, 6 months or years ago, when we were at the post office, you gotta do this, he's going, he was getting really frustrated, and then I'm just standing there and the clerk thought it was kind of funny. So he's handling it better, he's getting better. These are spirits in him that are causing that. You might have relatives that get these spirits influence people too, so it is not actually, the human is being influenced from spirits. So it's not how they would behave if they were free from these things, so. But I don't know if it's only Ahab, or if it's a person with Ahab too. I don't know. I thought it was only Ahab. I don't know, but Ahab is not planning my downfall, But he's still, kind of complicit. I don't know. I don't know. That is my journal, December 14th and December 15th, 2025. We are getting close to the end of the year. My restoration's got to be coming soon. I just started making these testimonies. They're going to continue. When I get restored, I'm going to continue those journal entries as well. So come on, bring it, God. I know, I'm sorry, Lord. Your plan is far better than mine. I'm saying your plan's better than mine. I know, Lord, my plan is I am not allowed to get a job. If I try to get a job, then my bike will probably explode at this point. This is what happens. My ability to get clean clothes, I have a laundromat that I can bike to right now. Something will happen to where I won't be able to go there. So I know I am not allowed. I cannot the perfect plan, something will happen, like a miracle, okay? I'm not allowed to go and try to make a quasi-decent solution of my own. I'm not allowed. I'm supposed to be in dirt and filth and impoverished, and then God just does this amazing miracle. And then I'm restored. So, people, they try to complain and nitpick and, you're not doing things right, or I don't understand you, and but that's the attack of the enemy. Because when God tells you something, then you follow that before you follow any human. So, anyways, I was told never to. I don't know if I was told never to get a job. That's why I wasn't sure if I was told never to get a job. But I was told not to get a job when my daughter was born, and she was almost a month old. And since then, I stayed with her till she was 18, okay? And then she went to live with my father for a while, and, now she's back with the narcissist because she's had to sell out, okay? But I was with her that whole time, though. And I was not told I needed to be there with anything else. That's what I've decided. And so now, am I allowed to get a job now, though, that she's grown? And so I was given more confirmations that I wasn't. So, I don't care, yes, I'm poor, but God has a plan for me, and it involves me not working. I'm not allowed to do that, so I have to follow God. And we're going to look crazy to the world. We're going to look irresponsible, and we're not going to be respected because we don't have a fancy title. But these are the type of people that God elevates. And then, I'm doing this because that's what God's called me to do. And now, it's kind of the point where I don't have this career. I don't have this long history. I'm really good if I want to, put my time and attention into something. I'll do a really good job. The thing is, God does not want me to pour so much attention into something that doesn't matter, into some corporation that's going to fail, into some mass-produced product. That is not what my knowledge and who I am is supposed to be. God has a better purpose for me than that, than producing some good, some video game or some toy or, whatever it is. God has a better plan for me. And in your situation, God may have directed your life. And there's things that maybe you wanted to do or things your family wanted you to do. And God blocked it, even though you didn't make very much money and it wasn't very respectable, because God had a more important purpose for you that you were trained and qualified for. So, well, that's enough. I'm getting off here. God bless you guys.